Hi there, this is Movement Goddess. Just want to share a floor movement practice for neck pain and shoulder pain. This is a practice that I do for myself. I've been having some neck pain and shoulder pain. So this is influence from some developmental movement as well as thinking about the body from a whole body fascial perspective. And this is inspired by a friend who is a beginner ocean surfer as well as myself. So there's a lot of extension in surfing, and so lifting of the head and lifting of the neck. And so this practice is more about not just moving and stretching, but feeling the relationship of your arms to your spine, of your head to your spine. Thinking of the body as having 5 limbs. So we have 2 lower limbs, 2 upper limbs, and then your head would be like the top highest limb. And all are moving in relationship to breath and relationship to the spine. If you could think about the spine breathing, so the inhale would be this way, this way, this way, and the exhale would be a gathering, right? And so our arms, our head, our tail, our legs, the limbs all spread through the inhalation, and they gently gather in through the exhalation. So as we're moving through these movement practices, which are fine just to do as a way of just moving, but I'll be cueing through some deeper imagery to possibly feel the reintegration, the relationship of your body moving and breathing as a whole, and moving in relationship to gravity. So that's the other piece of what I call embodied movement, is the ability to sense and feel grounding force, and so that we can feel ourselves moving and that response and the ground reaction force in a state of kind of sense of a state of lift and float. So let's begin. I'll start on my back, and I'll begin with a baseline check-in, just noticing what's not releasing into the ground. Get fully into the video. And so I'm just going to scan my body from my feet, kind of checking in with each heel to see the weight of the right to the left. How much can I feel the back of my calves? And I am comparing left to right, just to notice, not that one is right or wrong, or broken or better. And I'll scan up through my knees, the back of my legs, upper limbs. I'm going to scan with each pelvic half. So I like to think of my pelvis as having 2 sides, a left pelvic half and a right pelvic half. Trying to sense that sacrum, tailbone, front of the pubic bone, relaxing into the back of the sacrum. And then sensing my low back here, and any kind of tension that comes up, I want to just take a note of that. And then as I move into the back of my ribs, again thinking of my right ribcage half, sensing that. Left ribcage half, sensing that. And what I'm trying to feel is weight. Can I sense gravity's weight? Can I sense my body sensing gravity, right? And can I let go into gravity to sense the weight of myself? And then going to your shoulders, I'm going to turn my palms up. That helps my shoulders and elbows relax a little bit more. And just trying to sense the back of my upper arm, trying to sense the weight of my elbows, sensing the weight of the lower arm, forearm, and the hands. Then I'm going to check in with my head, And can I feel more weight pouring to the right side or left side? And I'll often refer this as brain weight. And then now sensing your breath and just noticing where you feel breath moving. And so you may feel it all in your belly, you may feel it in your chest, you may feel it just moving in the front of the body. I like to cue the sides of your body breathing. So can you feel breath moving laterally in the body? If not, can you imagine it? And then does imagining it help you feel? So sometimes just sensing breath in places that we don't normally sense breath can open up and help us release tension, right, in that area. I'll kind of say like that part of the body isn't being breathed. And so when we imagine that it's being breathed, that can relieve stress, pain, and tension sometimes. So I'm kind of imagining I have gills that are expanding through the in-breath, letting myself settle through the out-breath. Breathing from front to back. Can I sense my back ribs relaxing down into the mat on the inhale? And then just really letting that go through the exhale. Okay? Good. And I'm going to start with so as I go to slide this right leg in, I want to think of, can I still sense weight? Right? So sometimes what can happen is I go to lift this leg, and because I have tension in my back arches. So can I stay feeling weight in my hips and my ribs as I slide my right leg in? I'm not forcing myself, right? I'm sensing it's just enough weight that I do feel a little tone in the belly, right? Here. And that will help support the neck. And now I'm going to just allow the breath in. Thinking 3 dimensions, width, length, depth. And on my exhale, I'm going to sense weight in each pelvic half, weight in my ribs, and sliding that left leg in through the exhale. And I'll do that again through this, just for transitioning purposes. So I'm going to allow the in-breath. And on the out-breath, I'm going to sense weight in my pelvis, weight in my ribs, as I float my right knee into chest. Allow the in-breath. On the out-breath, I'm going to feel that grounding through my pelvis, which turns my low belly on to lift my knee. And now I have my knees I can hold on to. And I'm just going to allow breath here, as the more of my spine starts to just relax into gravity. I want to release tension here. This is a really therapeutic practice. I'm not trying to do exercises. I'm just trying to let go of what's holding and that doesn't need to be holding, right? So I'm just feeling breath here. Letting my hands sense like skin to skin support, so my elbows can relax. So my shoulder blades can relax. My ribs and head and torso relaxes. And then I'm going to start with just a little gentle, very small rotation. Right? So I'm going to allow my knees to pour to the left, which means I want to feel a little bit of weight pouring from right to left, not so much that I start to get grippy or tense through this right side. And then I'm going to counter that with my brain weight, head weight. Right? So my pelvic and all the organs and bladder are sliding to the left side, right? And now I'm going to let my head pour to the right, just enough to where I don't feel like I'm going to fall to the left. And I'm thinking kind of like this brain to bladder connection. There's a fascial fluid connection there. Allow breath in, maybe try to feel it in my right side, and we'll let the right hip drop down to return me to center as my head pours to center. I want to try to feel weight in my skull, my head, so I can relax. Allow my in-breath in, allowing that expansion. As I exhale, I'm going to start to feel weight in that right pelvic half, pouring the bladder over to the right side, pouring the brain weight over to the left side, trying to feel head weight, rib weight, pelvic weight. Allowing the in-breath into the left side of my body, also the right. And as I exhale, I'm going to think my left ribs, left pelvic, the weight pours down to return me to center and my head moves center. I'm going to allow the breath to breathe in two directions as I inhale. And as I exhale, I'm going to feel that pelvis pouring to the left. Right, and my ribs and head kind of pour to the right. Just enough. I still want to feel the connection of my head to tail. Inhale, allowing that breath. Exhale, I'm going to come back in. I'm just going to keep doing this until it should feel good. Like until I feel like I'm not interested in it. So you can continue to practice this. Practice relaxing the face, relaxing the jaw. And it's like I'm trying to massage the internal organs. I'm trying to massage the spine. My head pours in opposition of the tail. And right now I'm sensing I have a little more tension holding on my right side. So I'm feeling that in my back, wanting to hold. So I'm not going to go quite so much on that side. And I'm really going to think about how can I feel this side of my body relaxing. Right? And I may even need a little like sandbag there, or a little more time, or I may need to change my leg position, maybe together, maybe wider. I can cross ankle. Pouring back to center, moving in opposition. I'm going to feel the opposite weight just as much as the same side weight. Good, and back to center. Okay. And then that, bringing my feet down, will bring the arms out to T-arms. Okay. So I've been doing a lot of surfing the past couple of days, and I can feel that tension in my back, my lats, shoulders, chest. Ideally, my hands are hanging off. I don't know if you can see my hands. Let me slide down a little bit. So my hands are kind of hanging off, and sometimes it can make a difference to have them level. So to put like a towel or something underneath them can help the shoulders relax a little bit. So from here, I'm going to start like a wave. Right? So this right palm is going to turn down, right? So it's just, I call this like an inner spiral of the arm, right? So I'm rotating in, but I want to think about it more like a spiral, right? So as this arm rotates in, right, this arm is connected to the other arm through the neck. So I want to feel this happen fascially, like integrated. So I'm going to allow my inhale. And I like to imagine that my breath goes all the way out through my arms like they're sleeves to the fingertips. And as I exhale, I want to try to feel my arms gathering back in towards the spine. Right? I'm going to allow the in-breath, trying to feel my shoulder blades heavy. And as I exhale, I'm going to start to pour this right palm down, which spirals my arm inward. My head starts to move to the left side in response to that. Right, my left palm is just staying up. I'm going to allow my in-breath into my side, back body, front body. On the exhale, my left palm is going to do what the right one did. It's going to rotate downward. The whole arm and shoulder rotate, spiral inward, and my head goes to the right. I'm going to think of heavy head and like I'm pouring. And then how this right arm just kind of spirals up. Allowing the inhale, and on the exhale, arm spirals down. head pours to the left. So if I have a lot of tension in my neck, which I do have a little bit here right now, I could use a towel. So let me grab this real quick. I'm just going to fold this towel up like so. We'll try this height for now. And having that little bit of lift in the head can help relax, right? Tension in the back, the upper thoracic, could be the front, right? But just bringing that head up slightly. So if my head is doing this, I definitely want, if my chin is lifted, right? Instead of being level, I want a little towel. And I don't want to force it. I want to add a towel so that it just feels like it can naturally relax and be in alignment. Okay? And when I say alignment, I mean in relationship. Okay? So we'll do that again now, allowing the breath in, trying to sense breath moving into my fingertips. Exhale, right palm down. So the inner spiral of that arm talks to the head. Over to the left side, allowing the in-breath. And exhale, left palm is going to spiral that arm down. The head pours over to the right. Right palm up, allowing the in-breath. Yield to gravity. Try to feel the weight of the arm bones. Feel the weight of the head, the chest, the ribs. I'm just going to play with this arm spiral. It can be on a specific breath, or you can just sense breath breathing you and just playing with feeling the arms move the head. How does the head move in between the arms through that spiral? Then I can add a little bit more space. So I like to think about reaching out through my elbows to give me a little more, like a little tractioning. And I'm going to reach through my fingers from my shoulder blades through the elbows. So my elbows are going to stay soft. I'm not going to tense my arms to reach. I'm thinking about reaching my arm from my solar plexus, right? The front, the back of the solar plexus. So I'm going to keep that reach as I spiral the arm down. And I'm going to feel a little reach out to the left as I spiral the left arm down. Just, it can feel like a little bit of a stretch. I'm feeling a little bit of a stretch because I have a lot of tension right there right now. And I'm feeling an internal reach from my shoulder blade, through the elbow, through the fingers. An interesting practice here is that if you reach more through your thumb, you may notice you feel that more chest side. If you reach more through your pinky finger, you may feel that more through the back side. That's our fascial connection. So thumb is front body, pinky is going to be the back body. And I can even take that a little bit to a little more advanced practice if it feels appropriate. My ribs are going to be heavy, hips and head heavy. And I'm going to float the arms up. Right? But I also want to feel their weight and gravity. Right? And so I'm going to flip that right palm down. I'm going to keep reaching. Flipping the left palm down, I'm going to keep reaching. So I'm kind of reaching the arms in opposition, not extreme, but there is some effort there. I want to feel a tone of the arms talking to the front of the back, the front of the spine, the back of the spine, neck, And I'm feeling that a little bit in my right shoulder, so it's a little too much for me today. Okay. All right, now I'm going to slide the arms in. Think about letting the shoulders relax. Right. I'm going to flip my palms up, bringing my fingertips to my shoulders. Right. I'm just learning how to yield to lift. Right. So I'm going to pick the elbows up, but I'm going to think about the humerus dropping into shoulder girdle. So it's like I'm feeling my bones pouring into shoulder. And then to lift my hands up to the sky, I'm still thinking of heavy arms into the shoulders. And then I'm going to play with some spiraling maybe here. So I can play with the inner spiral and outer spiral and adding the wrist, the components of spiraling the wrist. But as I'm doing that, I'm trying to sense the weight of the arm going this way, the upper arm this way, and kind of like energy of the lower arm up that way. So I can inhale, I'm just kind of playing with letting the arms kind of breathe up and breathe down. Bring the elbows out. I can play with internal and external rotation. Again, if my head wants to move, I'm just going to allow it to move. If it doesn't want to move, that's okay. And I want to just sense, I'm not forcing, just kind of feeling what do the arms want to do. I may feel like one hand's coming down on one side and it's not doing it on the other. I'm not going to force the other side to match it. I'm still feeling breath. So I'm in my body. I'm trying to stay in my body and explore this movement. Right? So I know what it is I need. Okay, and I'm just feel like I want to move on to the other arm part. Right? Ribcage arms. So as my arms start to float back, I want to sense their weight. And I also want to sense like my shoulder blade kind of winging off, like gliding off and wrapping to the front of my body as my arm reaches back. Right? So there's like a bone rhythm that can happen. Shoulder blade kind of goes back onto the back and rotates upward. Right? And now the shoulder blade glides down and around. So I want to kind of feel the bones moving and gliding in relationship to one another. When they're not moving and gliding, what you get is this. You get an arch, right? And so I could just pull my ribs in, right? But what I really want to do is just allow more conversation, right, of the bones. Kind of sense my collarbones wide naturally. I could even take the arms out wide. Feel how breath is part of movement. Just kind of wanting to go this way again. I'm checking in with my head. I feel my neck wanting to tense. Right? And my arms, if they want to spiral in a certain way, I can allow that to happen. Good. Okay. So the next is going to be rolling, or actually let's do this little reach. So just integration. This is a restorative movement. Integration. I'm going to allow this right arm to rest. If it has to come here, that's fine. My left foot is going to ground. I think I have this on one of my other videos. Right, so I'm pouring through the left foot, and that's what lifts the hip. So if I have a lot of tension, I'm really sticky, right? My ribs are going to poke up, right? So what I want to sense is weight through my foot and a little sense of weight through this left hip. A little sense of weight through the left rib, right? So so that there's a constant yielding into gravity. Not a collapse, but a yielding, which will still feel like tone, but tone that feels good and not rigid or full of a lot of tension. I'm relaxing, so I'm taking some of the weight out of the foot and letting the pelvis release back down. Right? And I'm going to allow this right side, sometimes the right side likes to help, right? And I want that right side to relax. I'm putting weight, so this hip is lifting because I'm releasing through my foot, which is also different than pushing. Okay? And what I want to sense is weight in the whole foot. So if weight goes too much into the inside of my foot, my knee's going to fall in. If it's too much to the outside, my leg's going to fall out. I'm not going to get the same grounding, right, feeling. Right, and then I can add, so here's where the upper part of the body comes in. I'm going to say sensing my left foot, and I'm starting to reach this left arm over, and I'm thinking about my left foot, and I'm thinking about this right side, right? So how to integrate this left hand to left foot? It's just by thinking. So I'm not overreaching. See, I just got tension in my neck doing that anyways. I think about my foot, right, and the arm. So if we think about core, moving from your core, this is moving from your core. Doesn't mean I'm bracing my abdominals. It means that I'm moving from a whole body and center. So my arm is reaching from my foot, which is really like saying reaching from my core, right? And core breath is part of our core. How does breath maybe give me a little more reach? Right? And that can just feel really yummy for sometimes sticky ribs, right? Create neck and shoulder tension. And I just lost my foot. I'm going to refine the foot and refine my breath. I don't care if I go further, I'm just listening. Finding my foot, side of my body. If I feel extra tension, before leaving this place, I'm going to just make sure I'm breathing and I'm yielding into gravity. Right? How do I feel the weight of my ribs? What's inside my ribs? The weight of the organs, the weight of the fluids, all the soft tissue, and then come back down. Okay? Sliding the left leg down. Now you get to see how my foot looks on the right side. Some people put their foot in alignment. I like mine a little bit out to the side. It gives my pelvis that diagonal cue and helps me stay in the ball of my foot. I can tend to overheel it. Everyone's different. So I'll start with just sensing weight in the foot, right? So I like to think about this lower leg weight. Maybe even some energy moving out through the knee. I'll say reach, but I'm mindful about reaching, about that word. Right? And then as I'm feeling some holding through my right side, I want to settle, I want to see if I can feel gravity a little bit more, so I may even use my hands. Trying to feel the relationship, so there will be some tone. I call this like sit bone to foot to heel. And maybe it's a couple times. It's feeling a little crunchy for me right now. And again, I've been surfing and I've been having some tension on this side of my body. So when I feel, it's kind of like this waterfall energy that goes down the back of my body. It connects the sit bone to the heel. And I'm finding the ball of the foot. Maybe you may even feel a little bit of an opening through the front of the right hip. And I am feeling the work in the back of this leg. So if I want this hip to open, I want to feel a backing of this leg. I want to feel support here. Right? And then back down. This is also a very useful tool for spine extension. So as a surfer or any type of movement that requires spinal extension. In order for the spine to fully extend without compression, the hips have to open. Right? The hip flexors inside of the hip, so there has to be a relationship of the femurs feeling fed and connected through the right pelvic half, pelvic floor into spine. Right? And in order for this to open, this has to wake up, but not over-stabilize or over-grip. So it's all relational. It's starting to feel a little bit more fluid now. So now that it's feeling a little more fluid, I'm going to find the right arm. I'm thinking of my right palm and my right foot. I'll reach the left arm up. And I'm going to use my eyes to look where I'm going. So our eyes can help us navigate with more ease. I'm going to keep finding my foot, finding breath. I'm reaching from my core, or reaching from my spine, or reaching from my foot, however you want to say that. So it's more like core coordination. Feeling the foot, it's like a wave, right? A sit bone energy to the foot. Right? Reaching the arm from shoulder blade. I don't want to be too locked out of my elbow and disconnect my hand through the shoulder blade. When I feel that arm and the shoulder blade connection. If I find my foot, then I can really start to feel how the arm and leg are connected to core. I start to have more of a core awakening or core awareness. Reaching, I'm going to open my eyes, some on my foot, on my palm reaching and trying to feel them. Maybe through the exhale, I can try to feel them gather together. I'm going to keep reaching as I roll down. I'm going to keep that foot supporting a slow roll of the pelvis and the ribs back down. Good. And you can keep playing with that for as long as you want to. Maybe bringing the knees in again for a moment. And then back down. I'm going to bring my hands underneath my head. Right. My elbows are going to be in a position where I can feel like the arm bone, the humerus, can relax into gravity, because I want gravity to be my partner. If I'm too wide, I may actually be closing my chest. I want to feel the width of my collarbones. If I'm too narrow, I will constrict that as well. So maybe slightly at an angle. And what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to feel how, as I'm holding my head, that's actually allowing my ribs, especially if your ribs don't touch the ground easily, that how lift of my head is actually coming from my ability to relax and release my ribs. So sometimes I will do this just to play with using my head to open up the back. Right? Trying to sense myself being a little softer, and I can even play with left side to right. Holding my head, yielding into gravity, just feeling the movement of a spiral through the ribs. And we'll take this into full rolling. Arms above head. My knees are going to start to lower. I'm going to feel the edges of my feet. Right? So what can happen is this, and I want to try to keep feeling my ribs relax. Right? I'm going to gently push through that left foot to roll to the right. I'm going to try to sense relaxation through my right side. And to go back, I'm going to feel my left foot. Try to pour and relax. back through center. Inhale, my knees already want to go to the left. We use this right foot just a little bit. There's the tone in the back of this leg here. There's this hip opening. Right? The hip is opening, not in a stretchy way, but in a lengthening, still relating, because it's going to take the ribs and then the arm over with it. Rest down through the breath. And I'm going to sense the ground, playing with the floor, playing with gravity as I pour back to center. So it's how we're moving that can create the restorative, therapeutic benefit to release tension than just doing it. So I'm trying to sense the ground. I'm trying to sense my breath. And I'm trying to move from feeling and sensing versus doing. How do I stay in my body? How do I feel my head weight here? The forearm to the forehead. It's very restorative for your nervous system, and it can help relax tension in the neck and jaw. Use a little bit of push to that right foot. Over to the left. Feeling breath. Okay. And slide down. Okay. And here's a little tensegrity spiral. So now legs are straight. Arms are going to go overhead. It's a different way to think about rolling. Okay. If I side bend to the left a little bit, it's going to open up this right side of my body. I'm going to pick up the left arm, kind of what we've been doing before. And I'm going to start to reach. I'm going to use a soft gaze. As I reach, right, I'm thinking of reaching from the solar plexus so that my head lifted because I'm thinking about reaching from my core, right? And that's going to take me over to my right side. So I could roll all the way to my belly, but I'm going to stay on my side for now. Okay. And so this left leg, I want to feel the weight of it with gravity. I don't want it to be too relaxed because I actually want to create some tone in a conversation of my hand to my leg still. So this can be in a preparatory to do a deeper, bigger movement practice. You can bring the limbs back online, or you can do it to unravel tension after an activity. Side bend to my right, open up the left, pick up the right palm like I'm doing a handstand. I'm going to follow it with my eyes. I'm going to feel the ground. I'm going to feel gravity as I reach. I'm going to keep trying to sense gravity through my bones. I'm going to flex this foot a little bit, opening up like I'm reaching through the bottom of my foot, like my foot's a palm. And then as that right leg comes down, right, I want to feel the ground. I'm going to keep a little bit of a reach so I can start to feel more of the segments of my spine and ribs spiraling and moving. I'm going to side bend to the left. Reach, 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 reach. Find my foot, feel gravity. Can I soften a little bit more? So if you're full of tension, feeling breath. This can be like a nice little stretch for QL, psoas as well. You don't want to overstretch. Again, we want to think about integrating. I don't want to stretch so much where I can only feel it in that one place. Right? I want to feel it as a continuation through my arm and leg, through my center. Right? I'm going to roll in my chest a little bit, using my legs to counterbalance me. Reach. And then the body starts to get it. So you may get stuck the first time you go. Okay, so if I go more, I'm going to kind of reach that left leg a little more to counterbalance me. Back of that leg. Find breath. I'm going to keep reaching just enough. I want just enough effort